Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear students. Hope you are doing okay. Welcome back to our course of English language vocabulary. Now, inshallah, I am going to start discussing Unit 34, which talks about addition and contrast. Of course, when we talk about addition, we mean that we connect similar ideas with some connectors or link words like moreover, in addition, and this stuff. However, when it comes to contrast, we join two different ideas using connectors of contrast. That's to say, we contrast two ideas or more. Let's have a look. Let's see. Okay? So here, in addition, moreover, etc., x and y. When we add a second piece of information in a sentence to support the first piece of information, you often use and. E.g., a good example, the food is excellent and very good value. When you put this information in two sentences, these link words and phrases are common. Let's have a look on the most common link words that are used to connect similar ideas. The food is usually very good. Furthermore, it is one of the cheapest restaurants in town. The food is usually very good. Furthermore, it is one of the cheapest restaurants in town. So this is furthermore. This is formal, by the way. Furthermore, we have to be very careful concerning the punctuation. Okay, we have full stop, capital letter, then a comma. Okay. The set menu is £10, which is excellent value. In addition, you get a free glass of wine. In addition, okay, so we add a similar idea to the first one, okay, using furthermore. In addition to the first two examples are formal, so they are more written in, they are more used in written language. The restaurant has a reputation of excellent or for excellent food. It is also very good value. So we have also. We connect two similar ideas using also. The food is excellent in that restaurant. It is very good value as well, or too. Okay, so here we use as well or too. You get very good food in that place. That's more. What's more? It's excellent value. What's more? It's excellent value. So we use what's more. So very, very clear examples. Very clear examples. Okay. Okay, let's have a look here. Note, the first two examples are more formal and more common in written English. The last two examples are more common in spoken English. So what's more, as well, to, okay, these things are, or these connectors, these linked words are more common in spoken English. However, furthermore, in addition, are more common in formal English, formal language. In writing. So these things are very easy, and I think they have already been taught to you at earlier stages. Okay, let's have a look on although. Okay, in addition, moreover. Okay, now we are done. Let's go to although in spite of. Okay, we use these connectors if we have two different ideas. Although, though, even though, in spite of, etc. Okay, x, but, y is blah, 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 blah. When you want to contrast two pieces of information in a single sentence and say that the second fact is surprising after the first, okay, you have to notice here that we need to contrast two pieces of information, okay, two pieces of information, and that the second fact or the second part of the sentence is a surprising, okay, thing, or is surprising after the first. Okay, for example, if you say, for example, he studied hard. Okay, he studied hard. He failed the exam. Although he studied hard, he failed the exam. Okay, so although he studied hard, what we expect when somebody studies hard. Okay, We expect that he passes the exam. So it happened that he didn't pass the exam, okay? It happened that he didn't pass the exam, so it was a little bit surprising to us, okay? So something happens to the contrast of our, okay, expectations. So it didn't happen, or what we expected didn't happen, okay? Okay, so the second part of the sentence is surprising. The second part of the sentence is surprising. Okay, so you can use these link words. She still won the game. She still won the game, and we have to notice here we have the word still. Okay. She still won the game, even though she had a bad knee. And we have to notice that after though, even though, we use a clause, okay? We use, or a clause is used. A clause means subject and a verb. It means a simple sentence, subject, verb. Although she had, subject, had is a verb, okay? Although, though, and even though. Okay, so she still won the game, though, even though she had a bad knee. They still went for a walk in spite of the fact that, okay, it was pouring with rain. It was raining cats and dogs. It was raining heavily. This is the meaning of pouring with rain. تمطر بغزارة. Okay? So in spite of the fact that, after that also we use a clause. It was pouring with rain. It, a subject, was pouring is the verb. So subject and verb, clause. Okay? The service is worse despite the fact that they have more staff. They have more staff. So in spite of the fact that is followed by a clause. They is the subject, have is the verb. Okay? So we have to be careful when using all these connectors or link words. Okay? Note, in these examples, you can also begin the sentence with a link word. We can start the sentence with although, though, even though, in spite of the fact that, despite the fact that, okay? Okay. Although she had a bad knee, she still won the game. It is very common to use still. This is the word still. In these sentences to emphasize the surprise. So still is used to emphasize the surprise. As in examples, okay? In the last two example sentences, you can use a noun or ing form, okay? Despite the fact, okay, in the last two examples or two example sentences, you can use a noun or ing form, okay? In spite of, despite, without saying the fact that, without using the fact that. So the service is worse. The service is worse despite having more staff. Despite having more staff, okay? They still went for a walk in spite of the rain. In spite of the rain. In spite of the rain. So we can use ing form or a noun. Despite or in spite of, okay? It is here. They went for a walk in spite of the rain. The service is worse despite having more staff. Despite having more staff. So despite having more staff, okay? But we have more. Despite being rich, we can say, despite being rich, he was unhappy. Okay, despite being rich, he was unhappy. This is another example. Okay, despite being ing form, okay? Or despite his richness, or in spite of his richness, he was unhappy, okay? After although, you can only have a noun, pronoun, verb, okay? So after although, it means after although we have to use subject plus a verb. I mean a clause, okay? I.e., although she had a bad knee, her knee was bad, okay? So she had, subject, verb. Okay, noun or pronoun, this is subject plus verb. Noun or pronoun means a subject plus verb. So what is used by after although is a clause. I think we are done here. Everything is very easy. So far things are very easy. Whereas This word is used to connect a fact or opinion about a person, place, or thing with something different about another person, place, or thing. You can also use whilst. In other words, the second fact is a contrast with the first. So this is the most important thing. This is the most important thing. Whereas connects two contrast ideas, okay? Two contrast ideas. We have to notice here that whereas is different, is a bit different from although. From although. Okay? Although we expect something, okay, but it happened, but what happened is different, okay? So the second part is a little bit surprising, okay? Although he trained a lot, okay, although he trained a lot, he lost the match. He lost the match. So what we expect after his training or harder training, if, for example, somebody trains a lot, okay, we expect that he wins the match. But what happens here is that he loses the match, okay? Very, very nice. Okay, so the idea here, although, in spite of, is that the second part of the sentence is a little bit surprising. A little bit surprising, okay? However, in whereas, the second part of the sentence is, you can say, contrast. Is a contrast, okay? Is a contrast. Ahmed is very, Ahmed is very happy because he's rich. However, whereas Rami is miserable. Okay, Rami likes tea, whereas his younger brother Rami, Khalid, likes coffee. Okay, so different things. Okay, contrast, contrast. Okay, contrast. Good. So, in other words, the second fact is a contrast with the first, but not always a surprise. It is not always a surprise. Okay, so but with whereas the second part of the sentence is not a surprise, as in B above. Okay, good. John is very careful, whereas Christopher makes lots of mistakes. You see, the first one is careful. However, whereas Christopher makes lots of mistakes, he's not careful. Okay, so contrast. Careful makes lots of contrast. Careful makes lots of contrast. The second sentence. The south is hot and dry. The south is hot and dry, whereas the north gets quite a lot of rain. Okay? Okay, this is whereas. Hot and dry and quite a lot of rain. Gets quite a lot of rain. Okay? Two contrast ideas. Two contrast ideas. Okay? This is done. Let's go to however. However is similar to although and in spite of. It is similar to although and in spite of. Okay? This word is used to connect a fact or opinion about a person, place, or thing with something different about another person, place, or thing. You can also use whilst. In other words, the second fact is a contrast with the first. Okay? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm reading whereas. However, we need to go to however. We need to go to however. Okay? Okay, however, of course, we are done with whereas, and now we need to go to however. Okay, however is the same as although, in spite of, etc. Okay, the same. You can use however to contrast two ideas in two sentences and say that the second sentence is surprising after the first. Is surprising after the first, as in B. And you can use however, or on the other hand, to make a contrast between different people, places, or things, as in C above. Okay? So it is the same as although. Okay? Okay. Okay, so I don't agree with a lot of his methods. However, he is a good teacher. However, he is a good teacher. He is a good teacher. Okay? Notice how we use here the punctuation, full stop, however, comma. Okay? I don't agree with a lot of his methods. However, he is a good teacher. We can use on the other hand. On the other hand, okay? We didn't like the hotel at all. However, we still enjoyed ourselves. we still enjoyed ourselves. Okay, Marcel thought it was a great film. Joe, however, on the other hand, thought it was stupid. It was stupid. Okay, however, okay, good. Most big cats, such as tigers and leopards, are very solitary creatures. Lions, however, on the other hand, spend much of their time in groups. Okay, most big cats, such as tigers and leopards. Okay, this is leopard, not Leo. It's leopard. Okay, okay. Most big cats, such as tigers and leopards, are very solitary. They live, they live in solitary. They are alone. Okay, they are solitary creatures. Lions, however, or on the other hand, spend much of their time in groups. Okay, so we have come to the end of our lesson. Let's go to exercises. Okay, okay. Cross out the incorrect answer. Both answers may be correct. Okay, number one, although in spite of we left late, we still got there in time. Okay, we left late. We have subject verb. We have a clause, subject verb. So it should be although, because in spite of here we have a preposition, should be followed by ing form, by a noun. Okay, in spite of his illness, he went to school. In spite of his illness, he went to school. Okay, although he was ill, okay, he went to school. Okay, so after although we use a clause, subject and a verb. Although we left late. Okay, so although is the correct answer. Okay, it was a fantastic evening, although in spite of the horrible food or the terrible food. It was a fantastic evening in spite of, not although the terrible, in spite of the terrible food, because this is a noun phrase, the terrible food, in spite of. Okay, we have decided to go in spite of, despite the cost of the tickets, in spite of. Both in spite of or despite are the same. They are followed by nouns or noun phrases, or okay, nouns or noun phrases. We have decided to go in spite of the cost of the tickets, or despite the cost of tickets. They enjoyed the course even though it was very difficult. Yes, even though it was very difficult. We cannot say whereas. We cannot say whereas. Okay? Good. I love the sea. Furthermore, whereas most of my friends prefer mountains. Prefer mountains. Whereas, okay? Whereas. It is whereas. It is whereas. So it is a contrast. It is a contrast. Okay? They enjoyed the course, whereas it was very difficult. Okay? Good. No, sorry. I'm sorry. They enjoyed the course, even though it was very difficult. I love the sea, whereas most of my friends prefer the mountains. Yes. Okay? We found a lovely villa near the lake that we can rent. In addition, moreover, it has its own swimming pool, and we have free use of a car provided by the owners. Okay? The answer is in addition or moreover. Okay, both. Both. We found a lovely villa near the lake that we can rent. In addition, moreover, it has its own swimming pool. Both, in addition and moreover. Number 7, we both told John the car was too expensive. However, on the other hand, she or he still decided to buy it. Okay, so it is however. However, okay, we both told John the car was too expensive. However, he still decided to buy it. Okay, good. Good. Most people we met tried to help us. They were very friendly, to or as well. Okay, both, to and as well. Okay, good. During the week, the town center is very busy. At the weekend, on the other hand, whereas it is very quiet, it is very quiet and almost empty. It is very quiet and almost empty. The answer is, on the other hand, we cannot use whereas. Okay? Okay? On the other hand, it is very, okay, good. Number 10. Okay, number 10. My uncle is the owner of the factory opposite. He also, however, runs the restaurant next door and the car hire company down the road. The answer is, he also runs the restaurant next door and the car hire company down the road. Okay, so this is done. Let's go to 34.2, combine parts from each column to form 5 short texts. He went to school today, even though he didn't feel very well. Even though he didn't feel very well. He always did his best at school, whereas he always did his best at school, okay, whereas most of his school friends were very lazy, okay. This is done. He has got the right qualifications, okay. What's more, he is the most experienced. What is more? What's more, he is the most experienced. And you can do the last two, okay. Good. Fill the gaps with a suitable link word or phrase. Taking a map, they still got lost. Oh yeah, although, or despite, although they took the map, although they had taken the map, okay, both, okay, but here, because taking, we need to use despite taking the map, in spite of, or despite taking the map, they still got lost, okay. It took me 2 hours to do it, okay, whereas the others finished in less than an hour. The hotel has a very good reputation, okay. What's more, it is one of the cheapest in the area. Good. So I think it's a good idea that you do the rest of the examples, okay. Let's have a look here. 34.4. 34.4. Okay, complete the sentences in a logical way. I was able to follow what she was saying, even though, I was able to follow what she was saying, even though she spoke very quiet, very fast. Okay, very quickly. I was able to follow what she was saying, whereas the other couldn't. We enjoyed the holiday in spite of the bad weather. Okay? Or we enjoyed the holiday although the weather was very bad. If you buy a season ticket, okay, you can go as often as you like. Furthermore, it's much cheaper. Okay, good. So you can also do the rest here. Okay, so I think it's enough here. It's enough for this chapter. Thank you very much until we do and meet in the next chapter, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome back again. We meet here at unit 35, similarities, differences, and conditions. Of course, similarities, we say similarities when we want to show that two things or more are similar. However, in differences, two things are different. Okay. For conditions, this is achieved by using if, by using unless, and this stuff. Okay. Okay. Similarities, differences, and conditions. Similarities, differences, and conditions. Okay. Let's go to similarities. These are ways of saying that two or more things are similar or have something the same. Peter is similar to, or Peter is like his brother in many ways. Peter and his brother are very similar. Okay, Peter is similar to his brother, or Peter and his brother are similar. They are alike. They are alike. Or Peter is like his brother. Peter is like his brother. Okay? Okay? So Peter is similar to his brother. Peter is like his brother. Peter and his brother are very similar. Okay? Peter and his brother are alike. Okay? Okay. Peter and his brother are quite alike. Good. Maria and Rebecca both passed their exams. Maria passed and Rebecca passed. Okay? Good. But neither wants to go to university. But neither wants. Okay, notice here. Neither wants. Both want. Okay, but neither wants to go to university. Maria doesn't want to go to university and Rebecca doesn't want either. Okay? Good. The two boys have a lot in common. The two boys have a lot in common. Okay? They have many things like hobbies, interests, beliefs that are the same or very similar. Okay? They are very similar. So they have a lot in common. Okay? If you share something in common with another person, so you do the same things or you have the same things. Okay? Okay, this is for similarities. Similar to, like, alike, okay? Have a lot in common. Okay, so let's go to B, differences. These are ways of saying that two or more things are different, okay? His early films are different from his later ones. Different from, okay? Different from, okay? Paula is quite unlike her sister, okay? Very different from her sister, okay? She is very different from her sister. So quite unlike her sister. Good. They have nothing in common. They have nothing in common. They have no interests or beliefs that are the same. They have nothing in common. It means they have no interests or beliefs that are the same. Good. They have nothing in common. They have a lot in common. They have a lot in common. Good. So they are opposite, okay? Have nothing in common and have a lot in common. This is to show differences and this is to show similarities. Good. So to show differences, you can use different from, quite unlike, okay, and have nothing in common. Good. Using compare, okay, compare to, compare with, okay. We want to compare the prices of all the televisions before we decide which one to buy, okay. To compare all the prices of all televisions before we decide which one to buy, okay. So compare the prices. Good. They made a comparison of average salaries in different parts of the country. They made a comparison, they drew a comparison of average salaries in different parts of the country. Our new flat is very big compared to or compared with our old one. It means if you compare it with the other, okay, if you compare it with the others, okay, okay, so you have to notice here that we use compare with and compare to. We use compare with when we show differences. We use compare to when we show similarities, okay? If you compare this one with the others, I'm sure you will see a difference. Good. Notice here, to compare this one with the others, I'm sure you will see the differences. We can say if you compare this one to the others, I'm sure you will see the similarities, okay? So if you change the preposition, we change this word, differences to similarities. Good. So compare, comparison of, compared to, and compared with. Compared to and compared with, okay? Exceptions, okay? Exceptions. Exceptions. When we make a general statement about things or people, and then say that one thing or person is not included, one thing, one person is excluded, so we make exception of it, okay? Accept it, except for it, okay? Except for, okay? Except for, accept it, accept something, okay? Accept, not expect or expect. Expect. We have accept, and expect, okay? Accept, and expect, okay? Good. Okay. So when we make a general statement about something, some people, something, a person or something like that, and say that something is not included, okay? Something is, is not included, okay? Is excluded, or is different from the others, we use these words and phrases. It snowed everywhere except on the west coast. Except on, because rain, it's snow on. We need to notice here that this preposition changes, okay? Except, after except on, except in, except that sometimes, okay? Okay, it snowed everywhere except on the west coast. The two girls are very similar, except that Lois has slightly longer hair. Good. Except that. After that, we can use except that, and after that, we use a clause. Except that Lois has a slightly longer hair. Subject verb. After that, we use a clause. Subject verb. Sentence. A sentence. Okay? The museum is open every day except for Sundays. Or we can say except Sundays, because this is between brackets. Or we can say apart from Sundays. Good. Apart from. It's the same as except for. Okay? Apart from. Apart from. The museum is open every day except for Sundays, or apart from Sundays. Everyone heard the fire alarm except for the two boys in room 7. Okay? Or except, or apart from the two boys in room 7. The same. Except for or apart from. Good. Good. Notice that except for is followed by a noun. Except for is followed by a noun. Okay? Good. Okay. Note, except can be followed by different words. This is except, noun, preposition, etc. But except for and apart from are followed by nouns or noun phrases. Good. We have just put it. Okay? Nouns or noun phrases. A noun is a noun. A noun phrase is more than one word that form, okay, a noun phrase. Okay? A noun with an adjective, okay, and this is stuff. Okay, so this is done. We have different ideas here in exceptions. Good. Again, except can be followed by different words. Except, nouns, prepositions. Good. Except Rami, except Ahmed, except that Lewis has blah blah blah, except on the west. Okay. Except, we can say except in, for example, he lived in different countries, or he lived in many countries, okay, except in America. He lived in different countries. He lived in all countries in the world, okay. He lived in many countries. He lived in many countries except in, because the first is in. He lived in many countries except in France, okay, except in France. Okay, in. So we use different things after except. Sometimes we use prepositions, sometimes nouns. However, after for, except for, and apart from, we use nouns or noun phrases. Good. Conditions. Conditions. Here are some words, of course, conditional if. Here are some words, phrases which introduce or connect conditions, like if, okay. They are used with certain tenses, and the rules are quite difficult for the moment. Notice the tenses underlined in the examples and use them in this way until you meet other examples. So, regardless of the tenses, we have to pay attention, or to pay much attention to if, unless, because unless means if not. Unless means if not, okay? You have already covered these things in grammar 1 and 2. We will be late unless we hurry. We will be late unless we hurry. It means if we don't hurry, we will be late. We will be late if we don't hurry. Yes, good. Unless the weather improves. If, it means if the weather doesn't improve, okay? Unless the weather improves, we won't be able to go. If the weather doesn't improve, yeah, good. So present simple. I must go now, otherwise, if. Good. Otherwise, I'll miss the last bus. I must go now, otherwise I'll miss the last bus. Okay? It means because if I don't go now, I'll miss the last bus. You can borrow it as long as, good, on condition that, as long as, طالما in Arabic. You can borrow it as long as, on condition that you bring it back by Thursday. It means I will give it to you, I can give it to you, okay, on condition that you bring it back by Thursday. Good. As long as. Note, the meaning is very similar to if here, but the use of as long as, it's the same. Yeah. Okay, as long as means if, but as long as shows that the condition is very important. Yeah, the condition is very important to the speaker, okay, good. Take your umbrella with you in case it rains. In case, because it might rain. There is a possibility that it may rain, okay? Take your umbrella with you in case it rains. Okay? This is condition. Okay, it means because of the possibility it may rain later. Good. There is a possibility. Good. I brought food in case we get hungry. I brought food in case, for fear that. Good. In case we get hungry, because of the possibility we may be hungry later. Okay? This is done. Let's go to the exercise page 35.1. Read the information, then complete the sentences using the words, phrases from A and B. Good. You can do 35.1 alone. I can do 35.2. Rewrite these sentences. You must start with the words you are given and use the words in brackets. The meaning must stay the same. Look at the examples first. Okay, example 1. He is like the others. Use similar. He is very similar to the others. Good. Martin is quite unlike his brother. Means Martin is, use different here. Martin is very different from his brother. Good. 2. When you see the houses, you realize that the flats are very good value. Compare. The flats are very good value compared with or to the houses. Number 3. In her class, Carla was the only one who didn't pass the exam. Use except. Everyone, okay, passed the exam except Carla. Everyone on the class, you can say, everyone in the class passed the exam except Carla. Okay, good. Number 4, the two boys have completely different interests. Common. The two boys have nothing in common. Last but not least, you do not have to wear a tie except for Saturdays. You don't have to wear a tie apart from Saturdays. Okay, thank you. Good. Okay, so I think you need to do 35.3 alone. Okay, you can do the rest alone. Okay, thank you very much. Until we meet again in unit 36. Bye-bye.